Was Cairo a city built on secrets, stained with perfume and shadowed by the clink of coins? Did the Nile, a ribbon of turquoise, carry not just the lifeblood of Egypt, but also the whispers of illicit desires? Let's dive into the heart of Mamluk Cairo, a place where the line between pleasure and peril blurred with every sunset, and uncover the hidden lives of the women who navigated its intoxicating currents. Imagine a city thrumming with life merchants hawking silks and spices, scholars debating in sun-drenched courtyards, the rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer echoing through the narrow streets. But beneath the veneer of order and piety, a darker current flowed, a network of brothels and clandestine gatherings fueled by wealth, power, and a relentless human need. Forget the romanticized tales of ancient Egypt. This was a world of sharp elbows, whispered deals, and women whose fates were inextricably linked to the fortunes of the Mamluk elite. Our journey begins with two names, etched faintly in the annals of the 15th century, al-Sakhāwī and al-Bāsiṭ ibn Khalil. These weren't grand storytellers, but rather a biographer and a government official, respectively. They stumbled upon a place called al-Bārizī, a beautiful waqf, essentially a luxurious inn or lodging house tucked between the bustling booksellers' market and the Khan al-Khalili, a short walk south of the infamous Kizanat al-Bunud, a notorious slum. Picture it, a vibrant commercial hub, suddenly harboring a secret. Al-Sakhāwī described it as a haven for Banat al-Qada, daughters of sin women engaged in the trade of pleasure. Abd al-Bāsiṭ, more formal, reported its closure in 896–1491, ordered by the Atabak Azbak, a powerful military officer. 20 women, some enslaved Ima, were evicted. The reason? A complaint from a judge whose lecture room was directly overlooked by the brothel's open door. A simple oversight perhaps, but it highlighted the precariousness of these establishments, constantly teetering on the edge of discovery. Then there's the tale of Nawrūz, a man of immense power, a senior army commander, whose life intersected with a house embroiled in a bitter feud. This wasn't a tidy affair, it was a messy, explosive clash between the Grand Chamberlain Anaṣbāy and Nawrūz themselves. The disputed property, once belonging to another Atabak, was a hotbed of activity, a brothel teeming with prostitutes. Anaṣbāy, determined to shut it down, dispatched his secretary with a troop of soldiers. But Nawrūz, protected by his loyal grooms and black slaves, met them with a furious defense. The scene unfolded like a dramatic tableau, the soldiers driven off, Anaṣbāy arriving in person, unleashing a brutal reprimand, and the women paraded through the streets of Cairo on donkeys, a chilling spectacle designed to intimidate. Nawrūz, not one to be easily cowed, appealed to Sultan Kansa al-Ghori, who, predictably, sided with Anaṣbāy, leading to Nawrūz's own humiliation and a near execution. But the story doesn't end there. Let's rewind to the broader picture, to the intricate web of ownership and exploitation that underpinned the city's underbelly. Bernadette Martel-Thumian, a meticulous researcher, unearthed a fascinating detail. Not all brothel operators were wealthy landowners. Many relied on rent, paying exorbitant sums to powerful families and government officials to secure their premises. The Bārizī family, prominent figures of the 9th–15th century, were prime examples, their names synonymous with luxurious inns and lodging houses. And then there's Nawrūz, a significant military officer, demonstrating the symbiotic relationship between power and profit. Renting out spaces for large-scale prostitution wasn't just a business, it was a strategic investment, a way for the elite to accumulate wealth while seemingly maintaining a respectable facade. Now let's introduce a crucial, often overlooked element, the waqf. These charitable endowments, prevalent throughout the Mamluk period, were a clever and deeply cynical tool employed by the ruling class. They'd funnel income generated from properties like apartments, commercial buildings, and shops into mosques, madrasas, Sufi hospices, and even hospitals. It was a masterful deception, a way to mask illicit profits and evade taxes. Sultan Barsbay, a particularly astute manipulator, established numerous waqfs, carefully selecting properties in prime locations, near bustling markets, along the Nile, and within the city walls. His endowments included a building in Bab al-Nasr, a major entrance to Cairo, with 10 shops, another outside the walls facing a funduck inn with lodgings above, and even a triangular apartment house at a busy intersection. The documents were vague, the conditions minimal, allowing for maximum revenue generation. Consider this: a shop rented to a silk merchant could just as easily be used by a prostitute. A room in a funduck could house a wealthy patron or a woman selling her favors. The waqf system provided a perfect cover, shielding the profits from scrutiny and allowing the elite to indulge their appetites while maintaining a veneer of piety. Even the island of al-Rada, a popular spot for illicit gatherings, was subject to this system. Let's bring the story back to the streets of Cairo and the accounts of Ibn Iyas. He paints a vivid picture of a city grappling with corruption, a place where morality was a fluid concept, constantly shifting depending on one's position in society. He describes a woman named Anaṣbāy running a brothel that had relocated from Azbākiyya to Kaliub, a town near the Nile, after the al-Anaṣbāy's demise. The Sultan sentenced her to drowning, but she managed to secure her freedom by paying a hefty sum. She was soon back in business, demonstrating the resilience of this industry. Then there's the tale of the Nile's flood, or rather the lack thereof. In 914–1509, the river failed to rise to its expected level, prompting a wave of moral panic. The ruling elite, desperate to maintain their wealth and power, declared it divine punishment for the city's sins. This led to the closure of brothels, the arrest of prostitutes, and a public spectacle of humiliation. But as soon as the Nile did rise, the old habits resumed and the brothels reopened, fueled by the continued demand for pleasure. The story of Nawrūz and Anaṣbāy provides a particularly dramatic illustration of this cycle. The conflict over the brothel, coupled with the Ottoman conquest, led to a series of brutal confrontations and public displays of power. The Ottomans, notorious for their strict moral codes, attempted to suppress the sex trade, but their efforts were often undermined by the city's entrenched corruption and the willingness of powerful figures to turn a blind eye. Ibn Iyas's accounts are filled with details of public humiliation. Women paraded through the streets on donkeys, subjected to beatings, and even drowned. These were not isolated incidents, they were a recurring feature of life in Mamluk Cairo, a chilling reminder of the power dynamics at play. And then there's the lingering question of ownership. While some women operated their own establishments, most relied on landlords, powerful families, and government officials to provide them with space. The waqf system played a crucial role in this arrangement, allowing the elite to profit from the trade while maintaining a degree of control. Consider the case of Evliya Çelebi, an Ottoman traveler who visited Cairo in the late 17th century. He described the island of al-Rada as a den of vice, filled with tents where women offered their services. His observations confirm the persistence of the sex trade, even under Ottoman rule. Finally, let's revisit the story of Anaṣbāy and Badriya. Their executions, carried out with a chilling display of public spectacle, underscore the ruthlessness of the authorities and their determination to maintain order, or at least to project an image of order. The fact that Anaṣbāy's son later followed in her footsteps, operating a brothel with impunity, highlights the cyclical nature of this industry and the difficulty of breaking free from its grip. As the Nile rose and fell, as sultans rose and fell, and as empires rose and fell, the story of Cairo's brothels remained remarkably consistent, a testament to the enduring human need for pleasure and the willingness of those in power to exploit it for their own gain. So, as the dust settles on this tale, one question remains. Did the glittering facade of Mamluk Cairo truly conceal a city built on exploitation and despair, or was there a strange, unsettling beauty to be found in its shadowed corners?